All right, so how long does it take to become a lucid dreamer, right? And so this really varies wildly. It could take a week or two, or maybe a couple of months. And I would imagine that for the majority of people out there, you probably got to be willing to give it at least a month or two worth of effort before, really deciding if you want to just quit or not. But it could also take, a matter of years. That's why I think it's really important that when you're building your own personal lucid dreaming practice, to keep it at a level that you can maintain for ideally the rest of your life. Now, of course, could be certain moments in there where you go really hard at it. You're waking up in the middle of the night to dream journal. You're setting alarms to specifically get up in the middle of the night so you can recall your dreams and dream journal, throwing in like the proper wake back to bed method where you're getting up like 3-4 hours after sleep, staying awake for 20 minutes to an hour, and then going back to bed. So, if you can keep that kind of stuff up for the long term, by all means do it, because those things really do help a lot with your lucid dreaming practice. But you know what is probably the most important thing here is to do it in a way that you can keep up for the long term, right? So for me, like wake back to bed, for example, super powerful technique, but I really don't like to do it the classic way. So what I'll do is I'll set a bunch of really short alarms, wake up super momentarily, try to get up out of the middle of a dream. Don't even dream journal at that point either, because I don't like dream journaling in the middle of the night, as I was saying. But then just try to go immediately back to bed, ride the hypnagogia back down into sleep, and hopefully get lucid from that point on. But yeah, then also finding out ways, because we're talking about dream journaling here in the last couple ones, figuring out a way that you can continue to dream journal, because of course, dream journaling is important. Don't get me wrong, in my past video, having a dream journal is key. I just don't know if it's necessarily mandatory. But finding out a way that you can dream journal and keep that up for the long haul, I do find it to be really important. Like I said, hate doing it in the middle of the night. Pretty much never do that unless it's some really awesome dream and I know I don't want to forget anything, then I will occasionally do it. But for the most part, I save that all for the morning. And then there's a couple different ways to do it. Now, for me, I like to actually write out everything, right? I like to write out chronologically what happened. If I was feeling certain ways to certain parts of the dreams, I'll put that in parentheses, talking about what time I went to bed, what time I woke up, how I felt like the sleep quality was, and all those things. So it takes me, if I want to do the full thing, and I remember 3-4 dreams, or even just one really long dream from the night before, it takes me forever to write that stuff up. I'm talking like 20 minutes to an hour sometimes. So you got to find ways to kind of get around that. So, for me, what I found is keeping these really shorter things, like what time I went to bed, how my sleep was and all of that. Because that's something I can do quickly and keep up most mornings. And I'll just kind of track maybe how many dreams I remember having, if I was lucid in them, a couple bullet points there that, about the dream to help jog my memory if I want to go back there and read it later. So I'll do that kind of stuff. And that can trim it down to maybe like 10 minutes or something like that. But still finding ways to kind of do this practice in the long term, and then so you can stick with it for the rest of your life. That's probably a super key aspect to it there as well. So until the next video, keep the lucid dreaming practice legit.